So Minnesota this year, how are they different? What do you have to worry about with them in terms of matchups and whatnot?
I think they're obviously a lot different. You have Kalsher and Otero, who are very good players, obviously game-changing type players, and you throw in a guy like Marcus Carter at 35 against Ohio State, and Otero's probably been the most consistent of those three, obviously averaging 18 and 11, 3 blocks a game. A guy you got to know where he is on the court at all times. Just his ability to drive the ball, shoot the ball, post up, just do a lot of things for he's very versatile for somebody of that size. Marcus Carr is very good off the bounce, can get in the paint, can get to the basket, can create for other people, create for himself. Kalsher, like I said, just a total game changer. Against Oklahoma State, he goes 7 for 9 from 3 and just opens up the entire game. You just got to know where he is at all times and not let him catch and shoot. But he's a guy that can really shoot it from 3, but he also can do more. He's made some plays in some of those games that I mentioned that I've watched. I haven't watched all the games, but I've watched a handful, and make a couple runners, a couple floaters. Obviously, he's always had a pull-up jump shot to go along with his ability to shoot beyond the arc. So, those are kind of their main 3. Willis is probably the guy that helps them with spacing just because he can shoot the ball so well. He hasn't played. He's been hindered by an ankle injury, and so I don't know if he'll play in this game or not. But he's a good player. Can really stretch the defense, and so that's really the main cog of their guys. Obviously, you don't want anybody else having a career night against you, but that's anytime you have a big 3 like that with the guys that they have, where you have 3 people that can get 30 points on a given night, it gives you cause for concern.
In a season where you've had a lot of inconsistencies, rebounding seems to be the most consistent part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that, do you
think? We try our best to stay out of rotations. I think anytime you could have a set defense and stay out of rotations, even though at times you simply have to be when you get behind plays, if you can limit that to the best of your ability. We have some pretty good size at particular spots. Obviously, Trevion's our best rebounder per minute. Aaron Wheeler's done a really good job of rebounding the ball. Matt at 7'3". Nogel, who led us in rebounding last year, has great size. For his position, I know now we're kind of playing smaller, so he moves over to guarding a bigger guy defensively. But I just think we've done a good job of staying out of rotations and getting our defense set and not allowing second chance opportunities that they probably don't feel that way, because as a coach you always harp on not letting people get offensive rebounds. One offensive rebound's too many.
Where have you seen Isaiah progress the most from the start of the season to now?
Attention to details is a little bit better. He's playing harder than he was, just trying to get him to be demanding of himself. And that's hard when you're not used to going up and pressure the basketball all the time. That's not the only thing that you're doing either. You got to go up and pressure the basketball. You got to push the basketball offensively. You got to make good decisions. You got to know a scouting report from a defensive standpoint. So just trying to get him, to hold himself accountable and pay attention to detail. I think he's made strides there, but he still has a ways to go.
It's always kind of a process for freshmen earning their coach's trust.
Correct.
Trust him more than you did a couple weeks ago.
Sure, yeah, I trust him more. I don't ultimately trust him. I think he's a good player. I think he'll put himself in a position to be trusted at one time. But I don't trust, a lot of guys, to be honest with you. I think that gets that way, until you can get where you play with that consistency. I think once you play with that consistency, that's where that trust is earned. It doesn't mean someone's not a good player, or someone's not a talented player, or not a capable player. You just haven't been productive on a consistent level, and that doesn't, you earn that. And I think the more we can fight, and I think we're in the same position that we were last year. We didn't have guys that you could ultimately trust at this time last year, and but once you kind of show that consistency, you live with somebody's mistakes. That's when the good outweighs the bad, when you live with somebody's mistakes. When someone's making mistakes and you got to take them out all the time, that's where the difference lies.
How have you seen Eric Hunter physically and mentally mature this year? I know you said a lot of it has to do with just playing more, but
right.
How have you seen him?
Well, I think he's defended better. I think he's taken on challenges of guarding guys. And I think with that, you know, we've probably been harder on him when he does have breakdowns. And I think that's hard for a guy to really understand, because you're doing better, but yet we're on you more. That's just kind of the responsibility you have when you play 30 minutes a game. But he's done a much better job of, you know, getting into the basketball, staying on guys, making it hard on guys, paying attention to detail. And then he's been out on the court. He's always been a guy that could score, and you know, making some pull-ups. He shot the three well. You know, he's shooting 40% now from three, which is great. He's got a solid assist-to-turnover ratio. So just, you know, the whole game. You know, he's not a guy that just solely plays one position for us. You know, he has the ball in his hands. He plays without the basketball. You know, so he's growing as a player.
Where do the big lineups kind of fit in for you from here on out? Could that be a matchup-based thing? Could that be a back pocket thing, depending on how a game's going?
It depends on how the games are going. We're still in the process. You know, obviously with Matt. You know, you know, I thought other day's game was really good for him. You know, for what he's been through. You know, to play 12 minutes and to get out there and be productive. I thought he played well when he was out there. So just, you know, kind of letting that process. But, you know, we definitely could play, you know, with both those guys out on the court.
Can you talk about